someone I love so much, I'm going to have to control myself to not knock her down.
If you're new and you haven't, if you're not aware of what we're talking about, and maybe your little clock radio just went off, what happened some weeks ago is that we were discussing the war in Iraq and whether or not we should be at war, whether we should fight to free Iraq, whether that was all worthwhile, and there was a lot of discussion over that.
And we had just seen so many peace protests throughout the nation, and some of them had gotten quite ugly here in Illinois, here in Chicago.
And we were reading a whole lot of emails that we had received about the issue, and one of them was signed by a person, Pray for Peace, in which this person wrote, how can you be proud of your son? He's a murderer, and he won't even see the faces of the children he kills. He is a coward. Why are you not fighting in Iraq? You are nothing but cowardly cheerleaders. I wish I could see your face when your brave son's body is brought home. Or the look on your face when the terrorists strike Chicago. And when will the killing stop? When people like you are dead and gone, the world will be a safer place. You really make me sick. Signed, Pray for Peace. One of the calls in response to that particular email was this one. We'll replay it. Angie, I believe, was born there in Iraq. Angie, good morning. You're on Route 60?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Angie.
Hi. I love listening to your show. I listen to it all the time. I just want to say that I was born in Iraq, and I left Iraq when I was 17. And I came to a country that accepted me for what I am. Iraq never accepted me because of my religion. I was a second-hand citizen over there because I was Christian. Iraqi people are dead. Bush is not killing Iraqi people, or our troops are not killing Iraqi children. Saddam killed them a long time ago. And thank God for Bush. Finally, there is a man who can speak for Iraqi children. I know a lot of people will die, and that is sad, but Iraqi people are dead. You just don't know how bad it is living under that regime. So for those people, for those Americans that are ignorant about what's going on in Iraq, please understand, Iraqi people are dead. They have no voice. We can't speak our mind. We can't practice our religions. And this is the only country. Thank God for America. You just don't know how you should appreciate this country. You just don't know how lucky you are. And you know, I am a citizen, and I'm proud to be American. And shame on those Americans that they talk like that about our troops. Shame on them. Bush never killed anybody. Saddam been killing all these children. I cannot speak my mind, because if I speak my mind, he'll cut my tongue over there. He will rape our children in front of our eyes. You just don't know how bad it is. So for those ignorant people, please shut up. Okay, that's all I have to say. And I'm so proud of being American. And thank you for listening.
Angie, you said everything better than any other citizen could today.
Thank you. All right, there was the phone call, and since then, much has been written and said about Angie's particular phone call.
She has been such an inspiration.
We put that phone call on the website because so many people called and said, well, we want to hear that, and people emailed it around. It's been played all over, and we finally got a chance to meet Angie.
Oh, here's Angie.
Hi, Angie.
So happy to see you.
Well, this is the human being behind the phone call.
Oh, for everything. You're such a sweet person.
Hi, Angie. If you want to just sit right there.
I was afraid I was going to turn into a crybaby when I saw her.
You only need that if you were going to take some phone calls. You probably don't need that. That's great. No. Okay, and if you'll move the microphone over so that you can talk right into that.
Right.
That's
Get
great.
up there close. Jeff, help her move that chair in. Angie, we're so happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure.
I'm so thrilled that you agreed to come in this morning. I know that you're shy about that. I mean,
Right.
I guess you've only called one time.
That's it. That was the only time I ever called the radio station.
Well, I'm glad you chose to do it for such an important issue, because it is such an important issue, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is.
You said in your call that you left Iraq when you were 17 years old, but a 17-year-old is quite aware of the world, and if you see brutality being inflicted upon people, you know that, you know the pain and suffering.
Definitely.
And so you must have actually witnessed some of this yourself, and you obviously have ties with people who are still there.
Oh, yeah, I still have relatives, my cousins, friends, still living back in Iraq.
Yeah.
And when I was there, we were harassed, you know. I would see actually people from our community disappearing for speaking up their minds. And actually in the school I was harassed because I was not one of them. And the harassment was mostly, you see all these people that being out there protesting?
Yes.
They were all forced to be out there to protest. And whoever refused that will be disappeared. And basically, that's what they did. They would come to our classrooms, and they'll force us out of the classroom to protest for whatever Saddam wanted. Yeah. So to agree to any issues.
And did your whole family leave? Did everybody go together?
No, actually, you can't leave all family together. That would be scary. That would tip them off where we were going.
Oh.
So we had to flee one by one.
Really?
Yeah.
So at 17, did you have to leave on your own?
On my own, like going on vacation, visit relatives. So first my brother left, and then a few months later I ended up leaving to Greece. We could not tell him where we were going.
No.
We just told them that we were going on vacation, you know.
And would you fly out, or did you?
I flew straight to Greece, and we ended up living in Greece. Then my parents joined us a year later.
But they sent you. Your parents initiated getting the kids out of here.
Yes. Yeah.
And then when you were living in Greece, at some point you decided to come to the United States.
Well, that was our intending to come to America, really. But we could not tell them. I mean, God, we would have been gone. We would have never seen this day,
right.
You know, if they knew we were coming to America. They would think that we were spying or whatever. Actually, the only person that was kind of strong, it was my sister who actually went and applied for a visa to come to America.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was really heroic things to do, but we were scared for her life because after that she was harassed, and people would come and at night and stop at our doors and asking her to come with them for questioning just because she applied for a visa. And for the longest time, she would go to their offices, and they'll ask her all kind of questions. They offered her money, actually, to spy on Iraqis who live in America.
Wow.
Yes. You know, because they could not prove anything that she was, and
find anything bad about her. So.
And yeah. So they came up to a point where, okay, we'll give you money if you want to spy on Iraqis, or what they're doing in America and all that. And she refused that. And she says, forget it. I don't want to do this. I decided not to leave Baghdad.
Do you have any idea how much of an impact your phone call has made on the world? Do you know that your phone call, because we put it onto our webpage, there are people who have heard that the troops overseas, there are people who, in the military all over this country, who have written to us and asked permission to play that in their training sessions so they understand why we're there. There are schools that listen to Angie in the classroom. We've gotten email from other radio stations all over the nation where they have played it. One station from South Carolina wrote to say, we played Angie's phone call on the air because we have no Iraqis in our entire community. In the Savannah area, they said, that's just not something that is commonplace here, and Chicago has such a blend of ethnicity that for our local people to hear what she had to say,
not anticipated for all that to get so much attention like it did. Like I said, that was my first
phone call to a radio station. I listen to you all the time. I wake up on Don and Roma. Actually, my alarm is set on Don and Roma. You guys wake me up.
Oh, good.
In the morning. But on the day I called, I was really very distracted with the email that you read.
Yeah.
It bothered me a lot. I was already emotional because it was a few days before the war, and I was thinking about my relatives and cousins back home.
Right.
And then when you read the email, it's like, oh my God, these people are so disconnected from the truth. This time I just can't be a listener. I gotta call in. And what was so funny that I know your number. I mean, I hear the number forever, your phone number. It's just like, grab the phone, and I went blank. And I'm like, I should know this phone number. I should know this phone number. So it's like, okay, what should I do? I remember the last four numbers, 8900, and I go, you know what? I can't wait for Don to repeat this number again.
Yeah.
I called 411, and that's how I ended up getting the number. I'm like, my God, you would think I would remember this number.
So you weren't set up from the Bush administration to try to get people to support the war effort.
Oh, no, not at all. That is crazy.
Your relatives there in Iraq, have you gotten to speak to anybody?
We have not since the war. We haven't heard anything yet.
Are you optimistic about what's going on there and how the Iraqis will handle their freedom?
Yes. Oh God, that was a dream come true.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We would have never dreamt of this day if it wasn't for our troops, and there are our heroes.
Yeah.
Because of them, Iraqi children, now they have a freedom, and thank God for them.
The things that you said.
Yeah, so many of them are true. Here's a story. This is a copy of the Time magazine that'll be on the newsstands today. Time magazine finds Iron Maiden torture device outside Uday Hussein's Olympic Committee office. Uday reportedly tortured athletes who performed below expectations. It talks about the spikes inside this device, which would pierce anybody placed inside this. This is like out of a medieval, like these crazy movies that you see. This is a device that they used to reportedly torture the athletes if they didn't perform well. It was found hidden in a pile of leaves, and it goes on about this device with spikes to pierce any unfortunate placed inside. It was clearly worn from use. And it was clearly inside of Uday's first-floor offices in the Soccer Association. But they're finding the stuff that proves that there were actual tortures of human beings that were going on.
Oh, yes, definitely. It was all over. All Iraqi people knew about that torture, but no one had the guts to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if a member of your own family, something happens to them, you just cannot talk about it freely. It's just everything was hush-hush. We were kind of scared.
Of course you were scared.
Yeah.
When you find the children that were in prison, you find so many different things, and the things you said. You told us they cut your tongue out. They
definitely
raped your children.
An incident happened to my own brother where they actually come and ask you to join them, and if you don't join them, then there is a problem. My brother ended up getting hit by a car and dragged for about a mile. And he ended up breaking his legs, and he was in a coma for 2 weeks. And because of that, and we could not talk about it, we could not tell who did it, but we knew who did it. It was just we never brought it up.
Were you afraid that George Bush would be deterred by the French, the Russians, and the Germans?
That's what scared me, really. It's like, I was just hoping and praying to the Lord